Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You've tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, joined by local celebrity, legal analyst, and active, not a crime fighter, active criminal defense attorney. I'm sorry, SHAUN YURTKURAN. Good morning, Mr. YURTKURAN.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's been, it's been an eventful week, eventful 2 weeks, but I feel better. I'm not as tired as I was last week.
Man, I tell you, I thought I was caught up on sleep until I had to get up this morning.
Oh, really?
I slept good last night, but I easily could have slept another 2 hours this morning. Easily. And I feel like then I would be caught up.
Then finally, right? It'll take 2 weeks post-election.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
That was a week.
That was good stuff. I mean, I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, it was a lot, but I think about like people who actually get up and do like real hard work for a living.
Yeah.
I was like, woe is me.
I know. When those guys were building my deck a few weeks ago, I was like, these guys are really doing hard work, and I don't. I sit in a nice air conditioned office.
Yeah, but with that said, lack of sleep is lack of sleep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter the level, the difficulty of work. If you're tired, you're tired.
It is what it is.
And I was tired, boss.
You ain't kidding.
I was tired.
I mean, we could have just taken the Jody and Shockwave story this week. It would have been better, had more energy for it.
Well, I'm never going to lose energy for that. That's like getting a pile of meth.
Yeah.
Getting that landing in your lap. It's like, whoa, I'm suddenly awake. We are streaming successfully this morning on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SaveJXN. Rumble, if it isn't up, it will be here in a second. Search Clay Edwards Show on Rumble. Rumble, for some reason, it takes it a couple of minutes once I hit the live button to kind of get up and rolling. Not sure why it's like that. It is what it is. We've been having some technical difficulties with Facebook not streaming. I think I've got it figured out what was going on there. So, based on the comments I'm already seeing this morning, we appear to have that situated. Learning as we go with this live streaming stuff. But anyway, if you want to watch on video, we are there streaming on video. And, of course, 103.9 FM WYAB, the mothership pumping across the FM airwaves all throughout central Mississippi. The podcast, the audio-only podcast, is always available shortly after the show. I try to get it up by 10 a.m. every morning. It's there. Just search Clay Edwards Show on all the digital audio platforms, Apple, Spotify, etc. So good morning to everybody out there. Good evening to the drug dealers and strippers just getting off work. Hope y'all get some rest and get back at it tomorrow. I got some breaking news as we come in this morning. The Clyde of the Black Bonnie and Clyde, who decided to meet a man off of Facebook Marketplace out there on County Line Road at Burlington Coke Factory in Jackson a couple of nights ago. They got himself shot. He's a co-FAFO champion with his female Bonnie. He's not dead. He's paralyzed now. So whatever they were trying to steal from old boy that off Facebook Marketplace when they decided to shoot him. So both guys got shot. And now this guy has found himself paralyzed, according to my sources there within the city of Jackson. So, hey, look, I have no sympathy for the devil. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. I don't know. They said if he survives, he's paralyzed. So maybe he's on death's door. But look, at the end of the day, Sean, what do y'all call that? A community improvement killing?
Yeah, community improvement killing. That's
community
right.
improvement killing. If you're stupid enough to meet somebody off Facebook Marketplace to rob them, and then you also shoot them, it's probably over nothing. By the way, I mean probably over something probably worth $100, $200. Who knows? Probably a pair of Jordans or something dumb like that. Frankly, you deserve to die, and I hope you burn in hell.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. I mean, but it's I almost about 8 years ago, I almost got robbed doing that. I met them over in Clinton, right there on there's like a hardware store or something right there next to a Starbucks. And I said, yeah, just meet me at the Starbucks. It was fine. And these guys wanted me to come out to their car. And I was like, no, you can come in Starbucks. And they're like, no, man, come on. And I was like, yeah. Then I called the police, and they kind of ran them off. But it was like they were just insisting about me getting out to the car. And I was like, no, the reason we're meeting in a public place is because we're meeting in a public place.
What were you selling?
An Apple Watch.
White guys?
No, they were black guys. No, they were black guys. I remember that. They were in this. They were in a beat up Civic or something, and but they just wouldn't come in.
There was probably about 3 or 4 of them.
It looked like there was like 3, and they were out in the parking lot. There's a if you're familiar with Clinton, there's like a Starbucks right there, and there's I think that's a hardware store.
It's like a Revelation or
something like that. Anyway, they were in that parking lot, and I was in the Starbucks. I'm like, yeah, no, dude, I'm not walking over to your car. No, they were just insistent about it. Like, come on, man, I got to go to work, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. So I just called the police at that point.
Yeah, idiots. But I mean, look, you could have walked out there, had your gun, and you could have probably shot 3 of them and got away with it.
Yeah, I'm all right with that, man. I was like,
that's like my goal.
Robert Smith was still the DA at that point. I probably got in trouble for that, because he and I weren't jihading very well then. So speaking of that, I did. So when we were talking about the WLBT article, when I talked to them yesterday,
let's set that up because everybody may not know.
Yeah, sure. So yesterday, WLBT came by my office to interview me about the potential impacts of the district attorney's office and what that's going to happen with Jody Owens' position now that he's been indicted by a federal grand jury. And for everybody who doesn't know, the law is really nothing at this point. He gets to stay in power until the resolution of this, one way or the other. And if he's convicted, obviously he'll be removed from office. But there's no other mechanism except for, let's say, somebody wanted to file a bar complaint, and the Mississippi Bar went through the procedure of a former bar complaint procedure, and then maybe suspended him for it, which I think they should be able to do based on his statements in the indictment. That's unethical conduct. For obvious to all of us, you don't have to be a lawyer to realize that was unethical conduct. So I think that could happen.
Well, who files a complaint? Can a random citizen file?
I believe anybody can, as far as I know. Anybody can file.
Do it.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let somebody else do it on that one. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could do it. But the reason it's not that I'm morally against doing it because I think he deserves it, but it's the bar. Usually, we had the same situation come up with Robert Smith actually, and they didn't do anything. And he was like indicting circuit judges and other people and myself, and they just wouldn't do anything. And so I kind of got frustrated with them, and everybody else did, that they just wouldn't suspend him for the time being of that whole case going on. They're just, a lot of times the bar can be very slow on processing things and making decisions. And so it's kind of in the lawyer community, it's a source of frustration. So I'm not going to be engaged in any process with them because I just don't have confidence that they'll do the right thing here, because they didn't do it in the Robert Smith thing, and that really frustrated me. But if some other citizen wants to do it, or Russ Latino, who's out there really pushing this, wants to do it, I think that's fine. And you could see, but my thought process is they won't do anything until the resolution of it. The other one parallel I have for this is like Circuit Judge Bobby DeLauder, who prosecuted Byron Dillebeck with, when he was involved in 2008 in the Dickie Scruggs bribery scandal, the Supreme Court suspended him, but he was a circuit judge, not a DA. So I think they could do that, is what I've been told. And they can't really do that in District Attorney Owens' case, which is really, Clay, when you think about it, though, so this guy has been indicted by a federal grand jury, made comments like, I can fix cases, that undermine the public trust, and he still gets to be DA. And there's nothing that you can do about it except what I talked about, that off chance the bar would do something, which I don't think they will. And but that's it. That's all that can happen until, there's no legal mechanism in the law to force a suspension or leave of absence, which I think maybe that's something the legislature should take up and not just for DAs, but for, any office where, if you're indicted by a grand jury and it's something like that, you should have to take leave of absence, I think.
Here's an example. I'm trying to draw some parallel here. I can't remember the baseball. Was it Clayton Kershaw? The great pitcher in baseball.
I knew Clayton Kershaw is. Yeah.
He got accused of sexual misconduct, raping a girl, and it was clear that this was some BS. But he got suspended for like 2 full years of his career before it all came out that this was complete BS. This was a whore trying to get some money and this, that, and the other. That's like 2 years of his life he never gets back. Right. There's still always going to be a segment of people out there that, regardless of how obvious this was, his reputation shot, so on and so forth. But I say that to say that just, anytime that they're like in the NFL, I know it's not, or Major League Pro Sports.
Yeah.
Like anytime there's allegations of misconduct, they're suspended immediately.
Yep.
And there's a lot more money at play in their lives than with this thing. But I guess being an elected official,
People's lives are in your hands,
Yeah, people's lives are in your hands. But I guess being elected means more than anything. I mean, we've seen that with several positions here in the state recently.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It just seems insane that you can't. That there's not something.
But you're innocent until proven guilty,
and then you are. But I think like when you've got, I think in this situation, if you're an elected public official and a grand jury indicts you, then that should just be a leave of absence at the minimum. I'm not saying you have to lose your job. I don't think that. I'm not for that because you might be found not guilty. So, but I don't think like, especially now, I think there's a heightened standard when we're talking about someone in a law enforcement capacity, like a district attorney or a sheriff.
By the way, it was Trevor Bauer, not Clayton Kershaw.
Trevor Bauer, okay.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's even heightened standard now. Okay, if it's just like Representative so-and-so from Tishomingo County, maybe I'm okay with that guy not having to take a leave of absence because he goes to session once a year and it's not impacting my daily life that much. But I think when you're in a law enforcement capacity, like, a sheriff or a district attorney, you're talking about a completely different animal.
And he's admitted or bragged about whatever you want to call it, locker room banter, to fixing cases and trials and basically playing God.
Exactly. Right. That's playing God. It's like
with that position. It's not like he got accused of raping somebody off the clock, which that's terrible. I'm not saying it's not.
But it's different. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same thing as admitting that you were using your position to curry favor and power and money.
Yeah, I mean, you're acting like I made this example to you the other night. I mean, you're acting like you're Alonzo from Training Day. Like if anybody's ever seen that Denzel Washington's character, I'm King Kong MFer. Like that's what he sounds like in these wiretaps or tapes or recordings or whatever they did. And so I mean, and it's related to his office. Like, and that's when I go back to my example of the representative from Tishomingo. Like that's not going to impact people's lives like the district attorney who has to prosecute. And this is, by the way, one of the most violent cities in America, so it's kind of important here. I mean, it's not like we're talking about some BFE county, wherever. We're talking about here. And how does the public have any confidence? That's what I was saying on the interview. Like, if you're going to put 12 people in a box and you're going to say, hey, you need to, adjudicate the guilt or innocence of, defendant X, how does that work? Like, your district attorney looks like he's running a criminal enterprise out of the DA's office. I mean, and there's no other way to look at that. Even I've not heard, I'm sure you've not either, one person, and even this is in the legal circles I talk with quite often, defend these actions. What the quotes I'll give are, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen, Sean." Like, that's what people are saying to me. It's like, so I don't know, and now the public just has to suffer while knowing all this. And it's not like we don't know it's true. It was on a dang recording that he said this stuff, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's something maybe for the legislature to take up next session. And because this is now, and they mentioned this in the article, this ain't like just some one-off thing. The last district attorney at Hinds County got indicted.
The last three.
It was the last three. Not Faye Peterson.
No, so three of the last four.
Ed Peters got indicted, as far as I know, and he lost his law license now. That was after he was DA. But he had and if you know anything about Ed Peters, I'm sure you do.
We got to take a break.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran here on 103.9 FM WYAB. Guys, if you're out and about this morning, look for somewhere to grab breakfast. Burgers, Blues Barbecue in Flowood is open, serving breakfast this morning right there in Dogwood Shopping Center, right in front of Dick's Sporting Goods. That's Burgers, Blues Barbecue. Also, if you're out in the Madison area, Madison County, Martin's Market, located right there at Livingston, is open. Stop for gas, a Southern-style chicken biscuit, your Red Bull, your 5-Hour Energies, or anything else you may need to get your morning started. That's Martin's Market right there at the town of Livingston in Madison County. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB with Shaun Yurtkuran. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Mazda of Jackson. Speaking of Mazda Jackson, the Mazda of Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. There's never been a better time to buy a new Mazda, and the best deals around are right here in Jackson at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda, it's one of the top 5 most dependable brands out there, and Mazda of Jackson has hundreds of new and used cars available right now. Check out the all-new CX-50s and CX-90s. They've got low interest rates available. You can get them for up to 72 months also. Check that out. They got some rebates available. I recommend going to the website and getting the most current specials as they change monthly. But that's MazdaofJackson.com. Also, all new Mazdas include a lifetime powertrain warranty. Guys, I can't express to you how important that is. You know, there's a few little catches about having to keep your oil changed, and typically they want you to keep it serviced at the dealership. But that's little stuff there, not a big deal. You're going to get your oil changed somewhere, you might as well take it to the dealership. So Mazda of Jackson, located right there on I-55 frontage road at Briarwood, right there in, you guessed it, Jackson, or online 24/7, 365 at MazdaofJackson.com. Let's go straight to the Mazda of Jackson phone line. We got a caller on hold. Hey, good morning. You're on there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. I don't know if I could ask Sean a legal question. I guess something. I don't know. Educated dumb redneck. What is cyber stalking?
Sorry.
My mic was off. Cyber stalking is doing that through the internet. Exactly. It's like doing through Facebook and sending people messages. I think the Attorney General's office pushed a new law through a couple of years ago.
It's very loose, very crappily enforced in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I've had some cyber stalkers since I started doing all this, and I can't seem to get anybody arrested.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
reason I was asked. I kind of know of somebody. Don't know them real good, but they got hit pretty serious with something.
Well,
the X or something, and I'm like, and like I said, I've been seeing it a lot, but I didn't understand, because I know you've talked about it, Clay. And I'm like, wait a minute, how are they just going after certain people?
Well, it can result. It's like the 2 years, I think, is the max on that crime, and it's just using the internet or any electronic means to harass or stalk. But you got to think about that. That's a broad definition. I mean, how many times have people have been dating someone and you message them too much on Facebook or whatever be, or texting counts too, obviously, electronic means. So I think that's they were trying to prevent that kind of stuff. But where that line is, I don't know. I've never prosecuted that. I've never defended one of those things. I think it's a rather new law. I think it's newer. They did it a couple of years ago. They got into pushing this, or the AG's office did. But I don't know. I've never actually seen it enforced though. But I've seen a lot of people complain about it. But I've never seen it enforced.
Well, like I said, I know a couple of people have been charged with it, and I was looking the other day. They put a bunch of people, and half of them was on there for cyber stalking. The post, I think Dole Carson pointed out that, and I was just curious, because and I understand some of it, but that's like if somebody woke and you said something back, could they charge, you know what I'm saying, come after you. I'm saying that you put something, like when they, the COVID stuff, and we was posting stuff on Facebook, and they taking down, putting us in jail for putting out false information.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was just curious. It was I saw man, we see a lot more of these charges now. But I'll jump over here and let y'all get back to the gentleman. Help me with it, dog. I'll read on it some more and see, because like I said, it's kind of spooky.
Yeah,
it's vague.
That's a good way of putting it. Vague, because it seems like what constitutes harassment. As far what by messaging someone too much, is that harassment? I don't know. I mean, after they tell you to stop, I guess that could be considered it. Something like that. But
I got the law here. I'll read it off air. Off phone. Appreciate you, Chris.
All right, man. Thanks. Y'all be safe.
Thanks. Here's a Mississippi code on it. It says, provides that a person is guilty of cyber stalking, it's a felony if the person uses electronic, mail, or other electronic communication to threaten, terrify, or harass, up to 2 years and a $5,000 fine. And it's the harass part.
That's I
think there's a common, it's like the definition of porn. They said you can't really define it, but you know it when you see it.
Yeah, it's like whatever stalks the prurient interest. There's a legal way of putting it. I just remember from the case.
I think that's somebody tells you to quit communicating. It's like, stop messaging me. And if they continue, that's stalking.
Right. But you know how that goes with most people in their relationships. You'll tell some girl, oh, don't call me back. But then you're like, okay, then they do. And you're like, all right, that's fine. I mean, that happens back and forth.
Well, yeah, but if somebody thinks it's fine, then they're probably not going to file cyber stalking.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Exactly. I think it's got to go to it's got to be a heck of an extent. You know what I mean? I don't think it'd be here, let me give you an example. Say you're dating someone, you guys get in an argument, and then you're texting them angrily, and you're mad at them that day. I don't think that's going to work. I think it has to be something like a pattern. for that to be, harassment, like over several days, maybe weeks or whatever.
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
After you tell somebody to stop, and they continue, and you go press charges, I think that can be cyber stalking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I'm not looking at this from necessarily a relationship, a breakup standpoint, as much as I am crazy people on the internet.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just a different thing. I think they passed it initially though, because more of a domestic kind of thing, right? I mean, I think that was the purpose of it. Initially, is more of a domestic kind of situation. But I can see where especially in the internet age, there's all these other wackos out there that do things and stalk you down. And
a lot of these rainbow supremacists out there that think that anybody who's not in line with them is a domestic terrorist, and they think they're doing the Lord's work by harassing them.
But also, I think you'd also have a hard, let's say it's like someone starts stalking you on Twitter, okay, of all places, and it's just some profile out of wherever, and they're just constantly harassing. How do you find out who that is? I mean, it could be some bot for all you know. I think there's a lot of issues there too, like find out who people are. But definitely, if you got somebody's cell phone number and you know them, that seems like an easier way to enforce it because it's person whatever, and they're doing this. So.
Yeah, a lot of times they just look, we'll just block them. It ain't that easy. These people are crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You can't always just block someone, and then they use another phone number or whatever it is. I mean, it's just
a million things you can do. You can start a Google Voice and you can create phone numbers. And there's all kind of crazy things. There's apps, and I've seen it work. We've jokingly messed with people years ago. I think it was called the Text Now app, and I'm sure there's others now where I could text you from somebody else's phone number and talk crap, and you think they sent it.
Right.
I mean, there's all kind of that kind of technology should not exist.
Yeah, there is. You're absolutely right there. I mean, somebody, I was talking to somebody about this before. If somebody wants to get in contact with you, they'll figure out a way. Yeah. If they're that crazy, if they just won't let it alone, they'll figure out a way to do it.
There's always email, right?
Yeah, there's always email. I mean, you can block email though. Yeah. Like I've learned how to do that. You can block an email. It's not as easy, but you can make it automatically go to spam. So,
yep. Let's see here. Yeah, it's like spoof apps. Apps. That's where you get that from. Let's see here. We have that phone call took us down a rabbit hole that now we bounce back to anything else we were talking about. We're all over the place here.
We were, I think we were just the last thing we left off was the district attorneys that have been indicted in Hinds County. That's why I think this law is kind of something they need to look at to force somebody to take a leave of absence once they're indicted. Because we've got Jody Owens, Robert Smith, and Ed Peters. That's 3 out of the last 4 since like 1970. So the last 54 years. 3 of the 4 DAs that have been DA in that time have been indicted.
That sounds funny.
I mean, that's kind of an issue.
Nathan Russian asked you. He says, "Do you believe the state will step up with any charges?"
No, like the Attorney General's office. I don't think they're going to do anything. Yeah. I don't see that. I think there is several charges that they could come forth there. I don't know. I don't foresee them taking any action, though. It doesn't seem to be. They haven't seemed to have that kind of prosecutorial purview in that office that you would expect, and I think Jim Hood's office did. They kind of tacked off the goon squad thing off the feds there. If they do anything, I think it'd be some tacking off the feds here, but I really highly doubt.
What is the phrase you're saying, tacking off the feds?
Yeah, basically they just indicted him for the state equivalent crime, like they did with the goon squad here. The feds already had him, and then the state just, I call it tacking off of them, indicted him for the same similar state crime or whatever it was. And,
nothing's really accomplished.
Nothing was really, nothing.
Because most sentences would run concurrent if they did anything, I assume.
Yeah, they were. I think they were. That's what happened in the goon squad stuff. And here I don't see the AG going in and investigating like some new crime that that Jody Owens may have committed. I think there's a lot of things out there potentially that they could do, but it just seems like, and I know it sounds like I'm bashing on that office, but it just seems like that's not been their mission is a prosecutorial mission over there as much as it's been more of a political one from what I've noticed.
Sean, should we free the land?
Should we free the land? Well, or free the man.
Free the land.
Free the man is Chokeway's new slogan. Free the man.
Free the land. Free the people. Let's take a break.
Yep.
I'm gonna jump in the comments here online during the commercial break. So stay tuned online. If you're listening on radio, rip the knob off. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran on a hump day Wednesday here on WYAB. We'll be right back. All right. Let's see here. We had a bunch of comments and whatnot.
Yeah. Got
It was not as brisk this morning outside as I thought it was going to be as I put on this little hoodie. Thankfully, it's paper thin. Let's see here. Blake asks or says, has anybody heard anything from Rakia since Russ put her on blast? I have not, but I don't follow Rakia. But I think somebody said that she got served by the IRS the other day. I don't know if that's true or not or whatnot, but you hear all kind of stuff. Peekaboo says, yeah, you can free it and give back to us who have Native American blood ties that can be traced back on paper. That confirms who I thought Peekaboo was. Let's see here. Matt Gibson says, we're going to have a convicted felon for mayor and president. I don't have a problem. Look, man, I think anybody with a set of eyes knows that, that's not being biased, knows that Donald Trump stuff is BS. It's BS, and it's all getting thrown out.
I saw today that they might, this morning before I left, that might happen. That the judge is considering that. Yeah, he even moved the deadline this morning. Yeah, because he's seriously considering throwing it out.
Yeah, so. And I mean, and I'm telling you, Fannie Willis, Letitia James, they're going to jail. Trust me. Before the next 4 years is up, those two are going to jail. Good luck with them. That's Clay's opinion there, but I do believe there's going to be so many investigations they can't see straight. As far as your other comment, Matt, about a convicted felon for mayor, no, you're not, because in Mississippi, the second you're convicted, you are fired.
Yeah,
you cannot be a felon. Only one office in Mississippi can you hold and be a felon, and that's sheriff.
Right.
Strangely enough,
that's strange.
Law enforcement is the one that you can actually be a felon. Which I'm going to be honest with y'all. Well, I'm always honest. That's what gets me in trouble. Is I don't have a problem with a felon holding office or anything else.
No, I don't either, really. I mean, I think, though, if it's a crime related to your office,
100%. That's my next thing.
Different. Yeah. Also, the other thing, too, other than losing their offices and their liberty, both of Jody and Chokwe are lawyers, and they're going to lose their law license. So I don't know what they're going to do when they get out of jail. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be, shoveling bricks or something, because I'm sure they don't know how to do anything.
Oh, will they lose their Esquire?
They lose it. It's gone. They lose their law license. I mean, it's going to be that's what's going to happen. So I don't know. They're going to have to come up with some new career choice once they get out of prison. I mean,
Chokwe could be
street hustling.
Could be because here's the thing, they've been working these backroom deals and side deals and all this stuff for so long because they have positions of power. Yeah, so they're going to have those positions of power, and they're going to lose that. They're going to find out real quick all the people you was doing stuff for. You can't do nothing for them anymore.
Don't care about you no more.
No,
I mean,
next man up.
If you're those two guys, what you do is you move. First of all, when you get out of jail, you just you leave. You don't come back.
I think
you're kind of in that situation.
I think little Moombas need to go back to Michigan.
Yeah, the Moombas right. Your guys are gone. Jody. I mean, he's gonna. I mean, I would think he'd have to. I don't know what he's going to do for a living, but his family, I think, has money. Maybe he'll be okay.
Yeah. So. Well, he should have plenty of money.
Yeah, if he stocked enough of the illegal FBI money away,
Yeah, I mean, that Siemens money somewhere.
Is that? Oh, we talking about Chokwe got that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he got that kickback from the attorneys, I believe.
What?
Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun Yurtkuran on a hump day Wednesday here at WYB. This segment brought to you by our good friends down at Stonington Farm. Grass-fed beef. Guys are going to be up here this Friday. You got to get your orders in by Thursday. I am getting my order of grass-fed hamburger meat, ground beef in myself. I'm just low enough that I'm not going to make it to next time, so we're getting it. I converted my girlfriend over to it. We were having lunch yesterday, and she goes, that beef you gave me, she goes, I made some tacos with it, and I loved it, and my son loved it. She's like, what, can we get some more of that? I was like, as a matter of fact, they're going to be here Friday. I will get us some more of that. So y'all be sure to get yours, whether you like the beef, not the beef, the ground beef, steaks. They got it all there at Stonington Farm. You go to there. And what it is, if you're new here, it's 100% grass-fed, 100% grass-finished, mRNA-free. And believe me, we say that because there's a thing. A lot of the beef you get is not mRNA-free. And if you don't want that COVID vax floating around inside you, this is important. So avoid beef with mRNA in it. And it's also antibiotic-free and steroid-free, Mississippi-raised beef. It's as close to locally sourced farm to table as you're going to get from one of our sponsors anyway. So, look, they're good folks. They're like-minded individuals. They have high quality meat and other things that go along with it. They have all the different cuts. Man, you can get short ribs, the beef short ribs. You can get the everything. I was trying to say the bone broth. That's the word I was looking for. It is phenomenal if you know how to cook with bone broth. Great flavor additive. The ground beef, the rib eyes, the fillets. They got the chuck eyes, which I usually buy all the chuck eyes. So LOL, y'all, I'm getting those. But anyway, they got it all. They come up here once a month. You got to put your order in advance. You cannot just go buy it off the truck. They deliver to 3 local areas: Ridgeland, Florence, and Brandon. So get your order in today by Thursday at stoningtonfarm.com. You're going to go to the website. You're going to click View Cuts. You're going to pick what you want. You're going to call the phone number there. You're actually going to talk to Miss Katie Stonington, the owner, the wife of Dr. Stonington. That's right, a doctor owns this company. And she's going to answer any questions you may have. And boom, she's going to text you a copy of your invoice with the exact amount of money that you need to have ready. They take cards and cash. You pay when you pick your order up. It's that simple. And I promise you'll never eat another kind of, especially the ground beef. Once you've had that, you'll never be able to eat another store-bought ground beef again. Check them out, stoningtonfarm.com this Friday. All right, Shaun Yurtkuran. We have been bouncing around a little bit here. We answered some good comments or replied to some good comments during the break there. You got anything off the top of your head over there?
Man, I was looking through WLBT, and there's a great article about the history not the history, but like the last 30 years of corruption in Jackson and about the councilman. And I knew about these guys. You might remember this too, because I knew you were involved in the club scene.
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, Louis Armstrong. And I didn't realize it was for the Stardust Cabaret.
Yeah. John Adams.
Okay. Who was John Adams?
He owned it.
He owned it. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were it was a rezoning request. If anybody, I know I'm not making sense. So there was another corruption scandal in the 90s.
Yeah, it's the building is right next door to Pops around the corner.
Okay.
And then ended up just changing it to Stardust Nightclub. And I went to war with them when I had Crazy 8. I have a history of being at war with strip club owners in the nightclub business that decided to get into the nightclub business. It just kind of happens. And anyway, friends with all of them now, but not John Adams, but the other ones. We ended up hiring John Adams. Came by and paid us $100 to not let his girlfriend come out in our club. Okay. And I was like, well, screw you. The second she rolled in, I let her in, took his $100 and let her in the club. So, and that started a
feud.
Yeah, well, to say the least, a blood feud. And it got real ugly. So, yeah, I'm familiar with this.
Okay, and so, I mean, apparently they interviewed Bo Brown, who's I guess now he's in the House of Representatives, State House, and he was a city councilman at the time, and they said they tried to, get him to take a bribe, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going for this whole thing, and then he went through three FBI investigations, and he's like, yeah, I'm basically the cleanest city official ever, because, they never, obviously he wasn't taking bribes. And then there was another one right after that, another guy that had gotten, it's called, basically, it was something to do with Time Warner Cable. And a guy named Robert Williams was on the city council and took a.
When was that?
This looks like this was in the late 90s as well.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either. So, if anybody remembers that, text did. But it was according to Claire Ledger, the company, which was operating as Capital Cablevision, was seeking council support to renew its franchise agreement with Jackson, which would give it exclusive rights to operate in the capital city. And I guess maybe that was probably that time, all those, remember the cable company wars in the late 90s, early 2000s? We had something here before then too, and then Time Warner showed up, and there was all these different, because it was only one for a long time, wasn't it? If I remember, one cable company that you could have. Am I right about that?
Yeah. Well, it's whatever Time Warner was.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Whatever they were called prior to that.
But you didn't have options back in those days. What I remember am I right about that?
I don't think so.
You didn't have you had to have Time Warner or whoever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was. That's what it was. I think you could have satellite.
You could have satellite.
But don't quote me on that, because I wasn't old enough to be the decision maker on that. But my memory serves to the extent of only having one option.
Okay. Yeah. It just it said so basically, so Mr. Brown is talking about when they kept trying to bribe him that everybody was getting arrested and all these bribery schemes, that it was almost impossible to run the city because everybody was caught up in this. And you can see that now taking effect. And that's, I guess, leads us into that. How does a city run business right now? The DA's office, I don't know how they do, and I don't know how the city does. I mean, it seems like everything's kind of at a standstill. Like, does someone accept city employment today? I mean, for whatever job? I don't know that I would. You know, I mean,
does somebody get hired?
Yeah, like, well, I'm just saying, like, say somebody, you apply for a job, like, you know, you want to work at the city attorney's office or in public works or whatever. Like, do you want to go take a, you know, if you're a professional or whatever and you want to apply for a job at the city, do you take it now, considering the disarray? I mean, it seems like city government's going to, the functionality of it is severely impaired by these indictments, by the city and, you know, obviously the county DA's office.
Yeah, as they should be. Mm-hmm. As they should be. They should be impaired by it. The city needs to bottom out. Whatever, we always talk about, is Jackson at rock bottom? Is Jackson at rock bottom? Is this rock bottom?
Yep. This is it.
No, I don't know. It needs to be. It could be if they would allow it to be. Does that make sense? They need to allow this to be rock bottom, and let's use it as an opportunity to purge the system of the idiots. And I think you need to purge it hard enough. And I know you made a comment. I hate to bring a private conversation to air, but I'm going to do it. Okay, don't make you look bad. Makes you look like a good person. You have a little sympathy for Angelique and Aaron. I think more so Angelique, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't think she's going to jail or think she should go to jail. And I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth. I think she should go to jail. I think Aaron should go to jail. Not that I don't quasi agree. They kind of took advantage of. But
I think both of them. I'll put Aaron into the Angelique basket there.
I don't think. I mean, that's a very liberal use of the phrase "took advantage of." They didn't get took advantage of. They got played. I think a little bit different. They got played, but because they knew that they could be played. They knew that they were, you know, probably struggling a little bit financially, and they dangle a carrot in front of them. They chose to bite that poisonous apple.
Yeah,
and I mean they made that decision. So I don't feel sorry for them. They didn't get blackmailed. I mean, maybe they did. Maybe we'll find out that they had some dirt on Angelique or something. I mean, I know that's how they've been getting things done. I know they knew about her DUI for a while. And that's why they finally had to come out with it after Aaron got his. I think he kind of dangled hers out there, if I remember correctly. It was something along those lines. Right. She was trying to keep that private. The DUI she got up there, the marijuana DUI up there in Madison County or Madison. And like I said, I just don't feel sorry for these people, Sean, because you think back. You think back to like HB 1020 and the Capitol Police. I'm not even going to talk about the garbage debacle.
Yeah.
But just think about the things that make the city safe, the things that make people's property values remain a little bit higher, the things that make your quality of life, that make Belhaven safe. And I'm going to pick Belhaven because it's where you live. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the rest of the city. They were all against that.
Right.
They were all against anything that could possibly make this city function a little bit better and make people's lives a little bit easier, make people's children a little bit safer. They were all against that because racisms, because Chockway was against it, and they were scared to death to step outside the chalk lines to do anything that may be right for the city. And now we see why. Because they, aside from them being bribed, now Jody and Chockway know that they bribed them and have that to dangle over their heads and blackmail them to get whatever they want. So it's well beyond just the convention center hotel stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because now you've got to go back and look, so were you blackmailing them to get that garbage vote?
Right.
That you wanted? Because they were both in Chockway's camp on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were.
Well, I don't think that's any coincidence.
Wait, was Banks?
Yeah, I think so. No, Banks wasn't.
Banks was not.
Banks wasn't. Angelique was.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so I just, so no, I don't feel sorry for them. I think they do deserve to go to jail. Because all I can think about is anytime there was an opportunity to do something to make Jackson better, they went the other way.
Yeah.
You know, even though I know they don't have no say-so on HB 1020 and all that stuff, but they were publicly against it because they thought it was politically advantageous to be against, saving Jackson.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get your point on that. I just, it seems to me that the Chockway and Jody Owens, now clear from the indictment, are the ringleaders of this, especially Jody, actually, you know, which was surprising to me that he was actually he's the Nino Brown, if anyone gets that reference.
If I'd had to gamble, I would not have picked him to be the ringleader, but
me either.
He is proudly wearing that crown.
You know, again, I'm King Kong MFer, you know, as Alonzo would say. The yeah, I mean, so Angelique, like, I'm just going to say it. I mean, what I've heard, and I heard she's IQ level ain't hidden, right? Like, that's just what we all heard.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can see that by the, you know, if you're going to bribe me, Clay, it's going to be for more than just some sweatpants and a few $1,000s to go to Maison Weiss or wherever she went, right? You know,
low information, man.
Yeah,
she's a Rush Limbaugh low information voter,
and that's it. I mean, you know, it just so like anybody that's going to take a bribe like that ain't hitting on all cylinders, you know.
No.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking, you know. And, so I feel like, and then Aaron, you know, he's I mean, you read the indictment. Anybody, I encourage you to read it. It's like probably the most entertaining thing you'll read this year, which is saying a lot. But Aaron kind of looks like a little B word in it, doesn't he? Like, Jody calls him in and says, here's what I'm going to give you this. All right, now you go away. We're going to talk. The big boys are going to talk. And you basically, go sit at the child. It reminded me that, what's that, you know, Four Brothers, the one with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah.
And he says, like, yeah, you go sit at the kids' table. Like, that's kind of what he did there.
Grown-ups are talking.
Yeah, the grown-ups are. You go sit at the kids' table, and he makes him sit over there, you know. And actually, in that movie, it was a city councilman that the drug dealer was telling to do that to. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, so that's kind of like Jody was like, Aaron, you go sit at the kids' table. We're going to talk over here.
And you got two white guys sitting here talking about that this morning, and we recognize that. Imagine what the hood thinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
I mean, the hood thinks Aaron Banks is a punk.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and Aaron must have been so desperate because, you know, I wouldn't have cared at that point. If I got treated like that, I wouldn't really cared about the bribe. I'm like, really, Mr. DA? You can go F yourself.
Yeah, we're
like,
about to fight.
Yeah.
We men before we anything else.
That would drive me up the freaking wall.
And Aaron no, Jody didn't go to Forest Hill, did he? Jody went to Terry.
I think St. Terry or St. Joe is one of the two. I can't remember.
Yeah. He lived in the county, so they didn't go to school together. But I know Aaron went to Forest Hill. So, I mean, just as a, you know, I ended up at Byram, but I grew up South Jackson. I should have gone to Forest Hill, but we moved one neighborhood over. So just as a guy who always considered himself more of a Forest Hill guy,
yeah.
I find it disrespectful that you would let a county boy talk to you like that as a Jackson boy.
I guess I get what you're saying.
Like, I got some Jackson pride here, and you know. Anyway,
no, I mean you make actually. If anybody gets what you're saying, and I do, like, that makes perfect sense to me.
It was a big rivalry, like,
you know,
Byram and Forest Hill, Byram and South. It was a big rivalry, and you know, like we were all like, I went to Byram in 9th grade, and we would fight on the weekends. Like South Jackson would fight Byram on the weekends, and what ended up getting me kicked out of Byram was I was always on the South Jackson side of the fight. Ended up going to school and getting my ass kicked at the school because I was always fighting those people I went to school with on the weekends, and ended up in school suspension with a bunch of the people I just fought on the weekend. I was like, we ain't doing this, not today. And I just walked out of school and I ain't been back. We got to take a break. That's a true story too, on the Bible. We'll be right back on WYAB. All right, we're back. We'll talk to y'all during that break. Let's see here. I figured that story would fire some people up. They hate us. They gotta hate us.
Who?
The people we're talking about.
Oh, well, we're all in now. I mean, that's just, you know, what are you gonna do?
I mean, look, let me just tell you, if I end up in jail in Hines County, well, hopefully Tyree.
Could you put that in the chat? Like, I wonder, or can I do that? I just sent you that video of that, the kiddie table thing. They have a clip just of that, 1 minute.
Yeah, if I end up in jail in Hines County, if I end up dead, if I end up suicided, I didn't do it. I'm just telling you, I did not kill myself. Yeah. Just put that out there.
I live in Hines County. Yeah, that's really like, yeah, I'm the dumb one here.
If I get pulled over in Jackson with a bunch of dope, I was not my dope.
Sorry, I'm trying to take down. I'm gonna plug the video in the chat so these guys can look at it.
Let's see here. Corinthians said, Clay, you petty. I'm just saying, man. Like, but growing up, man, that was a real rivalry. It don't mean nothing now, but back then that was real.
Yeah,
you know. For Aaron to let Jody and them kind of punk him like that, man. You know, I take a little. I'm kind of offended by that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like that's I think that's a true thing. I mean, you know, because
maybe I guess the best way to paint it, you know, maybe people who don't get it, maybe like Provine Callaway.
Right.
You know, like pick your Wingfield Forest Hill back in the day used to be a big rivalry. Yeah. Like you never wanted to, you know, get pumped by your rival, or maybe now it's like neighborhoods or whatever your sets are.
Right. You know,
now they kill each other over stuff like that. We just used to fight.
I mean, I just keep thinking about Jody looking at him like, bitch, you get over to the kiddie table.
Yeah.
You know, bitch, you can go eat those M&Ms with kids.
Eat your Jell-O.
Like, you know.
Gosh dang.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm going back through the comments. Y'all on fire in the comments this
Y'all,
morning.
the comments, I put the YouTube link to what I'm talking about. Click that, you'll laugh your ass off, I swear, because it's really exactly sums up the situation.
Yeah. Let's see here. The sausage peddler says Wingfield and Forest Hill was the rivalry. I mean, it was the Pearl Brandon rivalry.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I remember when Byron played Forest Hill, it would have been 92, maybe 93. Mm-hmm. I think it was 92. The game was at Byron.
Right.
And some guys I know, somebody from Forest Hill left their car there overnight. Some guys I went to school with stole their car and drove it through a florist shop or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, they all went to jail. But, you know, if I told y'all some of their names, there's some people who are very prominent people now, so it's kind of funny.
Hey, Fred Shanks says, do we want to line up Rep Bo Brown? That would be interesting, you know.
Who was that?
The one who's talking about the scandal. They tried to bribe him in the 90s. He's in the house with Fred now.
Oh, is he? Yeah, we can take a look at that.
I mean, that would be neat. He's got that on the chat.
We can take a look at that. Let's see. I'm trying to pay attention to the schedule, make sure we don't run over.
Right.
Brittany says McGee and Mendenhall by far has the best rivalry. I mean, the little small town rivalries like that,
Yeah.
they're legit. Those towns where people say, like Pearl Brandon, same thing, those are always the biggest rivalries to the people from those towns because they ain't. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. We don't have about 20 seconds here before we take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we're going to try to right this ship a little bit, and I want to get into some of the Trump appointments, Elon, Vivek, and some others. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran on WYAB. All right, guys, we are here for a minute. I got to. This is not going to be an entertaining break here because we got our 7 minutes and we got to do some stuff too. But coming up in the top of the on the other side here, we're going to get into some of these. I don't know. I'm sure we'll pivot back and forth between the local stuff because this story is just too good. Yeah. But the Trump appointments are very interesting too, and blue hairs are on fire on Twitter over it. They're big mad as we knew they would be. He hired a Fox News host to be the Secretary of Defense. Well, I mean, the guy was so good at what he did, he got a job at Fox News. I mean, there's other ways to look at that. You know, it's never a problem when it's the other way around. I mean, y'all got a dude, y'all got a diversity hire over there in the government now that wears a dress that's high up in the military. So sorry if I can't take you serious. All right, we are going to kill the mics for a minute. Y'all don't go nowhere. I got to get a few things together. I know it's boring 7 minutes without us talking, but people on the radio are having to listen to commercials, so it could be that. Pick your poison. We'll be right back. Yeah. Boom, shakalaka boom. We're back here live on the most incendiary show in America. I'm just ready to up the odds a little bit, push all my chips in, and I'm just going to say most incendiary radio show in all of America. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran, and this segment is brought to you by our friends over at Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge. Guys, the holidays are approaching. Consider donating a vehicle now. You got one out in the yard, running or not. They'll come by. They'll pick it up. Heck, last conversation I had, you don't even have to have a title to donate a vehicle. They can get all that worked out with the state as long as the car ain't stolen, of course. You know, they can get all that worked out.
That's the caveat right there.
Yeah, just have me know. Let's
don't steal it.
Don't steal it. No. But hey, look, here's the thing too. You know, say you got a neighbor who has got a car parked out in their yard that is really grinding your gears. We've got the whole street looking like crap. We've all can relate to that every now and then. There's always that one neighbor who just thinks their front yard is their backyard. And, you know, go talk to that neighbor and say, hey, look, I know your 82 Cavalier out there is becoming yard art.
Your 82 capital.
Why don't you consider donating it to Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge? Because clearly your kids are probably going to end up there at some point, so you can kind of make a you can sow into that ministry now, and do some of the Lord's work and get a tax break by doing so. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm kidding. Your kids probably aren't going to end up there. But with that said, look, man, why don't you encourage your neighbors to donate their vehicles too, get that tax write-off, and look, man, just do the right thing. Hey, and maybe and business owners, don't forget, it's the end of the year, time to spend some of that money so you ain't got to pay Uncle Sam. Get those new fleet vehicles. Yep. Your current ones, instead of trading them in and having to deal with the hassle of all that, man, get that big old tax write-off for them. You'll end up doing better with the tax write-off than you will the trade-in and the tax savings and all that. So consider donating your current fleet to Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge for them to sell and help fund the operation down there, Adult and Teen Challenge, Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge. But they also sell vehicles, obviously. That's what they do with these donated vehicles. They sell them. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, give them a shout. Let them help you out today at Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge. They got financing options available for every credit situation. You can shop them online, mercyhouseautocenter.com. That's mercyhouseautocenter.com, located right down there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. All right, we got SHAUN YURTKURAN here with us. Shaun, let's see here. We'll get some breaking news here. Oh, all right. So we what am I trying to say? I get like 10 text messages at once, and I just have a brain fart there. The Trump appointments.
Yeah.
The lefties' hair is on fire. They hate all of them, of course, but the one I like the most, and I haven't had time to dive into the Secretary of Defense. I can tell by the left-wing hate of it that I'm going to love him, and that's typically how I judge things nowadays. But I love this Doge committee with Elon and Vivek, this government waste committee or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a committee, this board.
I think it's a new federal agency they made.
New federal agency, right. Yeah, I'm loving this. But, I mean, who doesn't want to tighten up government waste?
You know, it's kind of funny. You know, there's a lot of government waste when you have to create a more government to fix the waste.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you've done. You've created a whole new separate agency to fix the waste.
Yeah, let's see.
Which, by the way, I think is a good idea. I'm just, it's just kind of the irony in it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I hope to see is a lot of people lose their jobs. That in D.C. I think that's what I'm going to see. A lot of people have to get back into the private sector. And, if you've gone out and you've gotten one of these ridiculous diversity, equity, inclusion degrees, CRT degrees, and all that, and you're a part of these ridiculous departments in the government for diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think you probably need to find another job. You need to reconsider your degree. Go back, maybe get an underwater basket weaving degree or something like that. Learn to code. Oh, wait, that's right. AI is replacing coding. So I don't know. I just never forget the Democrats telling the coal miners in West Virginia and Pennsylvania, learn to code.
The whatchamacallit, other than the DEI stuff, this government efficiency thing has been an issue. I know, like during the Reagan administration, they started kind of focusing on doing this, and I don't know that it never really got done. So it's kind of, I think it's what I'm saying. It's bigger than just all that. There's a lot of inefficiencies in government that need to be looked at and see. So I think actually it is a pretty good idea that they've come up with this. And I think Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon are unquestionably pretty intelligent guys that should be able to put this together well. I mean, I don't think it can do anything but help in terms of fixing those things. Now we'll see how they they run it. But with any new agency, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hiccups for how the administration of it is. But I think I like the idea. I
mean, look, Elon came in and fired like 5,000 or 6,000 Twitter employees, and trimmed it down to very minimal, very few. I think less than 100 people are running Twitter now.
It's something low, right? I mean,
and it seems to be running just fine. Mm-hmm. It seems to be running just fine. All of our posts aren't getting deleted. Real quick, let's take a call here on the Mazda Jackson phone line before we get too deep into this. Hey, brother, you're on there.
Donald Trump is my president.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now, look, man, this is my buddy Tyler here. I was having some beers out at Shuckers with Tyler the Saturday before the election, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Saturday before the election. We had left the McBee's sports show. We're over there, and Tyler done taken a black pill and was just convinced that we couldn't win. Not because we couldn't win, but just thought the Democrats were going to cheat it away. And he said, if I'm wrong, I will call the show and I'll admit that I was wrong. So this is Tyler having to proudly eat a little crow because he does like the outcome, by the way.
Oh, I love the outcome. Yeah, I didn't get to bed till I saw 270.
To what?
Like I said, I didn't get to bed last Tuesday night till I saw 270. Because 4 years ago, Trump was up big, and I was like, okay, we got this. I got to go to work. I'm going to bed. Got
Same.
up. Joe Biden was going to lead everything.
Yep, same here, dude. I mean, of course, we were live on the radio doing the show, so I got to go to bed, and after hearing the somewhat of an acceptance speech, I still don't think we've gotten like a true acceptance speech from Big Don on this thing, but I guess we'll get that on January 20th.
Well, I read he had slept in like 3 days at that point.
I bet he hadn't, man. Look, that dude is a machine. I mean, like regardless of what anybody thinks of Big Don, I mean, you got to tip your hat to the man for that campaign and the work that went into that. I mean, frankly, both of them. I mean, I don't like Kamala, but I mean, to do what they did, especially Big Don. I mean, he didn't say no to anything. He did every appearance, flew zigzagging across the country, doing 4 and 5 rallies a day. Incredible.
Yeah, I actually listened to Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you listen to him at all. I know you got him on the station, and he was doing a interview with somebody, and they were talking about how what their campaign strategy was, and they went after the Republicans that they knew would vote for Trump to make sure they were registered to vote, and one of their big things was the Amish in Pennsylvania, and that's what kind of flipped the script in Pennsylvania.
They said, okay, so I think there's 90, I think I remember saying there's 90,000 Amish people in Pennsylvania. I think Sean and I may have talked about this on election night. It's the first time that the Amish have actually gotten out and voted. Did I hear that right? Or that they officially got out and got behind a candidate? But like, there's pictures of the Amish horse and buggy caravans with Trump flags on it. Insane.
Yeah.
And they were real pictures. It wasn't AI stuff. It was a really cool image, to see the Amish with anything kind of modern.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Funny.
They had the flag caravan on the horse and buggies. It's like, what world are we living? We are surely living in a simulation at this point.
But he also what else? I had something else. He said they asked him when he knew that Donald was going to win, and he said, I saw the lines in Pennsylvania to vote, and even before that to register to vote, he said, I felt good about it. But apparently he put a lot of man hours, going to, college after college after college, just signing these people up to vote.
Did you? I'm not sure which interview you're talking about, but Sean told me last night, I'm a big Patrick Bet-David fan of the PBD podcast, and Charlie Kirk and Chris Cuomo were on yesterday's live stream, and I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but they clipped it up, and I caught a few clips last night instead of trying to start the whole thing. And that was one of the things they talked about was Pennsylvania. And he said, you have Donald Trump and Elon Musk, two of the absolute most laser-focused people in the world. They say, like, when Elon gets focused on something, they said, like, if Tesla's not hitting its numbers, he goes and sleeps on the floor at the manufacturing facility until they get it right. So they were saying that once he got behind Trump after the shooting, when Trump got shot that day in Pennsylvania, that's when Elon officially came out and endorsed Trump. And he pretty much moved to Pennsylvania and spent the last 85 days living in Pennsylvania, doing all he could to flip Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do. Trump only won Pennsylvania by 134,000 votes. Mm-hmm. Really close. So you're talking about getting out, I don't know how many Amish are in Pennsylvania, but I think it's pretty good bid of them. And then also, if you look at the numbers from North Carolina and Pennsylvania are pretty significant in terms of the African-American male vote, which Trump received over 20% in both those states.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what's interesting, if you read about, I'm sure you guys have Barron's strategy of getting what's called the bro vote out, do the podcast. That's what won. The story of the election, really, it's going to be, Latinos, African-American males, and the bro vote is what won the election. I mean, it seems pretty clear by the post-election analysis. That's that this the data shows.
I like how Charlie Kirk referred to Elon and Trump as a forced multiplier when they put their efforts together. And I really liked that phrase, a forced multiplier. And Charlie Kirk came out and said something too. You know, he mentioned bro vote. He said that's the media trying to devalue the male vote, calling it the bro. You know, they're using that as a negative term.
Oh, are they? I don't know. It sounded like a pretty it worked out pretty positively for him. So if it
well, that's all they do is they criticize us, you know, the voter that votes for Trump, because we're misogynists because we didn't vote for Kamala. We're sexist because we didn't vote for Kamala. We're racist because we didn't vote for Kamala. I mean, it's just I recorded The View last Wednesday when I got home from work. I couldn't watch but like 10 minutes of it at most, and that's what it was. It's like she had the perfect campaign. She was a perfect candidate, but these people who are misogynist, sexist, you know, didn't want to vote for her because she was the wrong color, wrong sex. I was like, you are so tone deaf to the room.
They are. They when the white liberals got on there and started calling Mexican and black men racist and misogynist because they wouldn't vote for her, I was like, we have reached peak white liberal. I loved it, and of course the black Joy Reid and them were all doing it too. It was just funny to watch. They blamed it on everybody but themselves. They put out Sean says it all the time. Run a better candidate.
You know, I think the argument of the, you know, I've actually looked at all the Democratic postmortem on it, and there's a group like you say that are saying all that, which is the one people that aren't going to learn a lesson, which is stupid in my mind. But the the counter to me always
they're the people with the loudest megaphone that are saying that.
Yeah, I would guess on the left there's some that are not. I mean, you see Bernie Sanders going out explaining why the Democrats really lost. I think his analysis is the best. But I mean, they never get countered with, how did Barack Obama win 2 elections in a row by bigger margins than Donald Trump did, by the way, electorally wise, and if the country's so racist? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, how did that happen? I mean, he won. Barack Obama has won the biggest electoral victory in the 21st century. Like, how did that happen if the country's so racist?
Yep. Tyler, we got to take a break, brother. Great. Thank you for calling in today, brother.
Hey, I was wrong. I'm glad I was.
Amen. Peace out, brother.
Bye.
I'm gonna say this, because I want to hit it when we come back. Sean, there was a piece that came out. Gosh, I saw it yesterday on one of the news apps I follow, and it was discussing Obama's legacy coming unwound a little bit.
Well, the Obama coalition is over now. Is what I've got some pretty good information on that too.
Yes, yeah. I want to hit that when we come back, because I think you're starting to see that happen here a little bit. All right, this is the Clay Edwards Show with SHAUN YURTKURAN. Guys, it is Tuesday. Get out to and visit any of our great restaurant sponsors. I went out to El Patrio and ate lunch yesterday in Brandon, Crossgates, and I got offered a dish after we ate what did I get? I got a chimichanga for lunch. After I ate my chimichanga, the owner brought us a new dish that they're working on adding some really authentic Mexican dishes to the menu. And it's called a torta, Torta, and it sounds very fancy, but at the end of the day, it's on a hamburger bun, and they take mayonnaise, a bunch of like their diced vegetables, they mix all that together, jalapenos, and they throw in like whatever your meat of choice is. She brought me fajita steak, I think, or beef, and it was on there with server fries. Dude, that was one of the best sandwiches I've ever eaten in my life. I took one bite of it hot, and I could not eat no more. But last night, the half I took home, I ate cold. I don't know that I've ever had a sandwich that good. I think they can. It's not on the menu, but you can custom request it. It's called a torta, Torta. If you go to either one of the El Patrios in Flowood or Crossgates for lunch or dinner, you want to try something more authentic, that's an off-the-menu item, request the torta. We'll be right back on The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to The Clay Edwards Show here with SHAUN YURTKURAN on WYAB. Of course, we're streaming worldwide on all of the video platforms and social media outlets that we have available at our disposal. Quick correction, and thank you, Kara, for picking that up. I said today's Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. I'm going to tell you, y'all don't know how close your boy came to taking a day off either yesterday or today.
Yeah, you told me you were going to. And then I listened to the show, and then you actually had a show, so I had to listen to it yesterday.
Yeah, look, man, I'm telling you, I'm just like, I need a day to just reset. And but we'll get it at some point.
The holidays are coming up, right?
You got to strike while the iron's hot, man. You got to make hay when the sun shines, and when the Lord blesses you with the kind of content that He has blessed us with the last 7-8 days, you sleep when you're dead. And, you sleep when you're dead. Hey, look, man. Real quick, this segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49. In Florence, Mississippi. Pops is purely one of the best experiences when purchasing a quality late model pre-owned vehicle. Look, it's locally owned, locally operated. Good old folks down there at Pops Auto Sales. They've been there for a while now, too, right on 49 in Florence. Did you know that Pops also offers a 3-month, 3,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on all eligible vehicles? And they also have extended warranties, or technically they're called service contracts, in the available on most all their vehicles that qualify. You can get 0 down financing with approved credit. You can secure your pre-approved application or financing before you drive it to Pops. Before you drive out there by going to Pops Auto Sales LLC.com. So, if your credit is a little edgy, a little questionable, you don't want to go and and waste a bunch of time out there trying to get approved and all that. Figure out which vehicle you want and do the online application. Let them know how much money you got down. Let me give you a little bit of advice from somebody that was spent 12 years in the car business. If you're trying to get a vehicle, don't call the people and say, just see what you can get me done on. And don't say, I don't know how much money I got to put down or I want to put down. Just try it with 0 and then find out. That's not how it works. If your credit is questionable, you need to make your first swing your best swing. If you got $5,000 you can put down, you need to say, I got $5,000 to put down. If you got $1,000, you need to be like, I got $1,000. Because if you get an automatic turn down, you don't get to renegotiate the terms. There's no being able to call the bank and say, hey, can you take a look at this? So you need to make your first punch your best punch. So that just a little advice there. If you're out auto shopping or sending your credit app in online, don't try to play poker and try to not put as much money down as you possibly can. You need your best punch to be your best punch. If your credit's under 700 or under 680, just food for thought. And also, you guys know if you got bad credit. Don't act surprised when you find out you got bad credit.
That is for him.
Come on. Yeah, either you pay your damn bills or you don't.
I've been guilty of that when I was younger, though.
Well, yeah,
trying to buy a car one time. I'm like, really? I can't believe it.
If you're under 25, it's different.
Yeah.
But if you're in your dang 40s, don't act surprised. If you're a dang cockroach and you got a 300 credit score, you ain't never paid a single bill in your life on time. Mm-hmm. Anyway. That last rant was not brought to you by Pops Auto Sales. That was Clay Edwards' original there.
It is funny when we're like, I can't believe it. I'm like, credit just, like what happened?
Yeah. And
you didn't pay.
And also, or those consumer credit app, not credit app, but bureaus. Mm-hmm. Oh man, my Credit Karma said I'm a 700. Trust me, that's the consumer score. The one that actual banks look at says you're 650.
Yeah.
Always figure about 50 points lower than what your Credit Karma or Experian or, some of those. Credit Karma is actually pretty good because they got the different bureaus. Yeah. But there's some of those other ones. I forget the name of them. They're trash.
I know. Are you subscribed to Credit Karma?
Yeah.
You always get an email and you kind of get nervous when you click on the because it can say something good.
There's been a change in your credit score.
Yeah. You're always, it's kind of like the people that you're talking about the credit. I didn't know what credit is. It's like the people that tell you the bank people at the bank were so rude. I've never had an experience in my life where somebody at the bank was rude to me.
I mean, maybe you get a teller that's having a bad day or something like that. But if your bank calls you, if you don't like your bank because when I was in finance, that was a dead giveaway for you don't pay your bills.
Yeah.
If man, I hate that. Who's your car finance with? Santander. I hate them. So first off, it's a secondary bank. Second of all, or they say credit acceptance or something like that, CAC. Like, well, you don't like them because they call you and harass you because you don't pay your bills. And look,
Exactly.
We've all been in hard times in our lives. I get it.
Sure.
But your bank ain't picking on you.
No.
You owe them money.
Right. They're not like bad. Like you just have to pay. It's an exchange.
Yeah.
They give you money they lend you money and you pay it back. And there's an interest rate, like that's just it.
That's funny, man. People are being stupid in the comments. All right, so let's circle back because this is going to be a short segment because we ran over on the last one. Obama's legacy and his influence is beginning to wane.
Well, I think certainly I've been reading a lot about this. The Obama coalition is over. It's actually the Trump coalition now. So like I'll give you an example of this. If you look at Wisconsin and the counties that Trump won, in 2012, the entire state was a sea of blue with a few red counties sprinkled in there here and there.
What state?
Wisconsin. Okay, it was one. And now that's flipped towards a sea of red, and the only blue are the cities, the urban areas or the blue, or blue. Ohio is a similar thing. So the eastern Ohio counties, Obama won them between 15 to 20 points. They're all Trump counties now. So essentially what the point is that like all the people that were with Obama, the working class voters, Latino voters, they've all moved over to Trump. And they're not necessarily Republicans. You see what I'm saying? They're not like traditional conservative Republicans. And I don't think the Republican Party now is that party of that anymore. I don't think that's the Trump or MAGA legacy at all. I think it's completely a different party now. But
it's not just a different party. It's not just a different Republican Party. It is a whole different party. It just so happens to call itself the Republican Party.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's the way I'm looking at it.
It was instead of creating a third party hijacked the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's got to pull to speed, right?
Well, it's kind of. I think it was what the Tea Party wanted to do.
Yeah, but I think right. What they no, it's not the same as the Tea Party.
No,
but what
no,
they wanted
to do.
Yeah, I agree with
and
that.
And I think there's some Geno from the Tea Party in the MAGA movement, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I think the MAGA movement
has evolved way past that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the MAGA movement is not as concerned with spending like the Tea Party was. Like, I think it's much more a populist movement that is okay with spending money on American concerns, stuff that's not like not against spending money on overseas adventures, but for spending money in
I would
the United
definitely
States.
say we're for government efficiency. You can look at this Elon and this new government agency that they just formed, the efficiency agency, the Doge agency. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say that we're not concerned with spending. Definitely concerned with spending, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean it's different than I think like the traditional conservatives were that was, even though they said they were for controlling spending, but they never did. So just like nobody really ever has. But so I think it's a different kind of movement. It's not the same. It's not the George H.W. Bush, Mitt Romney, George Bush. Those people are gone from the party, and I don't know that they're ever coming to return. It's not the same kind of party at all. It's not a social liberal party either, but it's not a social conservative party. You know what I mean? It's like somewhere in the middle. Yeah. It's interesting. It's very much like the Bernie Bros, or that it's very similar. It's got so many similarities, and people would be shocked that I'd say that, but there's so many similarities to the Bernie Sanders kind of movement and MAGA, and you'd be shocked at how similar both of them are.
Yeah. Back to Obama.
Yeah.
So all the party has kind of flipped. I mean, I don't know. What is Obama's legacy now?
Well, I mean, it just
other than being the first gay president.
He's not gay. His legacy. I mean, in terms of, there's a lot of things I think he did well that are his legacy. Now, his coalition, just once he was gone, didn't hold together. I mean, those people now became Trump voters, and they what his legacy, it's not his legacy, it's what the Democratic Party did after him. Now they're a party of white, college-educated, affluent people and black women. That's essentially it now. That's kind of what the party is at this stage. If you're looking at it, it's white people that went to college, that are well off or upper middle class, and black women. And that's kind of the party. Now, I mean, black men too. I don't want to kick them out. I'm saying, but I think they're trending more and more, as we've seen. They could go more and more to the Trump side. Though the interesting thing for the Republicans,
you're only going to be able to bash masculinity for so long before black men are going to say, okay, you're talking about me now too.
Yeah, and Charlie Kirk, actually, when the caller brought him up, I watched that one with PBD last night, and PBD brought up a good point. He's like, if you're just a guy and you've always voted Democrat and you're watching CNN with your wife and your kid and they had there was this big debate about the transgender issue. Did you see that? They've been playing that clip a lot.
I didn't make it to that point yet.
Yeah, okay, well, they've been playing all around different podcasts, and I'll break down. What it was is a black guy, Michael, I think is his name, was talking about how these culture war issues helped, defeat Kamala Harris, helped Donald Trump win. And he was saying that, regular people, this is what he's saying, don't think that, men playing in women's sports is good, right? They're not for these things. And then so this guy, this gay guy is at the round table and he yells at him. He's like, I won't take that kind of transphobia.
Oh, I've got that clip. The gay white guy.
Yeah. And and
he's on the cusp of using the N-word.
Right.
And I shared the video. And we could play it on the other side of the break.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the cusp of calling this dude, telling him N-word, get back in your place. And I think it would create an interesting public case study. What size of the social justice oppression scales does the public defend? Is it the gay white guy defending trans nonsense, or is it that calls the black guy an N-word, or is it the black guy who gets called an N-word for standing up for or just suggesting? He wasn't even really making the point. He was just suggesting that the Democrats lost because of the whole trans stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and all he said was a boy playing women's sports, and the guy got mad because he said, well, they're not boys, they're trans girls, or whatever the heck it is, And the guy was just making a point, like, look, dude, this is the why. Like, you may think that, but regular people don't think that. People with any sense don't think that, and so that's why one of the reasons that you lost the election. And you just and this guy, the Michael, I forget his last name, is a Democrat. Like arguing like this is why this stuff is stupid. This is why we lost. And this guy's going crazy. So I think, the point on PBD was like, your people that voted Democrat, they see that kind of like, I don't know what you want to call it, far left lunacy or whatever it is. And they decide, okay, maybe I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. And that's kind of what happened.
All right, we got to take a break real quick. When we come back, we got a caller on hold. Please stay there. And we're also going to play the video that Sean is talking about. I'm looking for it on my Twitter now. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun Yurtkuran on 103.9 FM WYAB. This segment brought to you by our good friends over at Home Hearing Healthcare, Dr. Carrie Tilly Snyder. Hey, guys, do you often need to turn up the volume on your radio or TV? Oh, yeah. Is it difficult to hear in loud places like restaurants? Has someone close to you mentioned that you might have a problem with your hearing? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then take the first step towards better hearing and schedule an evaluation with Dr. Carrie Tilly Snyder at Home Hearing Healthcare. They are a hybrid audiology clinic. They're a hybrid audiology clinic offering both in-home and in-office patient care in the greater Jackson metro areas. Visit homehearinghealthcare.com to request an appointment today. And I just scheduled my appointment for November 20th. I'm going to go in there and we are going to film a video of me doing what do you want to call it, a sample, a test, or whatever, a fitting for a hearing device. Now, I doubt I buy the hearing device because I ain't paying for stuff. But with that said, we're going to test, and y'all know I have a completely deaf ear, and they've been telling me about this product that will work. It works like earbuds, and you can pick which side is the microphone and which side is the speaker, and we're going to turn my deaf ear into a microphone, and it's going to turn the other one into a speaker. So I'll be able to hear out of both ears for the first time in my life. So I'm going to film that and put it out there and let you know how this stuff really works or not. So looking forward to that. So stay tuned for that. We're going to do it on November 20th, so it should be out on the 21st. That's homehearinghealthcare.com. I was literally texting with Dr. Carey during the break there. So, nice. All right, look, let's play this video. This is the left eating themselves. A gay white man attacking a black man. And I thought that was racism's. But apparently, as long as you're defending transes, it's perfectly acceptable to berate a black man on TV. Good stuff here. I love it when the Democrats go after one another. It really makes me excited. Let me turn my volumes up here. Got to make everything plural, too. Plurals. Anyway.
There are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys.
This is the black guy talking right here, by the way. And
Shermichael, right? Yeah.
What's his name?
Shermichael, I think.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Shermichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't. No, it's okay. Clear, you are not being.
But
targeted.
I am. But it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that.
What you're seeing here is the oppression Olympics play out on your screen. Since I'm being targeted.
I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not. But he wants to sit here and
calling you transphobic. I'm saying you're using a phrase that you know.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people. That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
case, we're using that.
My point in terms of its effectiveness.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested that they were working.
In those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports. First of all, we're talking about 5 people in the entire country.
You would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
The American Medical Association.
The American Medical Association. Yeah, that's the beacon of trust. Right,
but they didn't even say that. The American Medical Association didn't say that,
did they?
No. I mean, as far as I know, actually, I've read into this a little bit. We've talked about this on many times, but I'll bring it up again. Being transgender, or gender dysphoria, right, which was called a gender disorder prior to 2013, is in the DSM-5 manual.
Tell people what
and that's a diagnostic statistic manual for psychiatric disorders. So it's listed as a psychiatric disorder. Now, it's not, so the American Medical Association isn't going to say that as far as I know, now maybe they did some crazy, but that a male is a woman. This is essentially, according to the DSM-5 manual, which is the one that's accepted, it's a psychiatric disorder that they treat with this gender affirming stuff and all this kind of stuff.
It's how they are able to get insurance to cover any of this
right.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
It's like calling an addiction a disease.
Yeah. I mean,
same reason.
Well, I also, I have a question. I've never even talked about this with you, but I thought about it not long ago. I wonder if there's any other mental disorder that they treat with actual, I'm going to use the wrong term because I'm not a doctor, I'm a lawyer, physical surgery or surgery.
Yeah,
is there anything
like a physically, trying to change something anatomically?
Yeah, is there any other psychiatric disorder? Psychiatric disorder where they treat with a surgical procedure? Now I know maybe in the past, like in the 50s, they used to. I think that was all discredited, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, but other than, didn't somebody famous the Kennedy sister,
right, had a lobotomy,
that destroyed her, or in like the late 1940s.
Imagine who would have thought that driving a stake with a hammer up somebody's nose or the brain would do damage.
Yeah, it's wasn't such a good idea.
Frontal cortex getting.
But if you're like schizophrenic, there's not a surgical procedure for you, right?
No.
If you have some bipolar disorder or whatever, there's not a surgical procedure for you. So where did this become to treat a psychiatric disorder is what I want to know. Or is it really because there is money in the medicine, as Chris Rock would always say, I think that's fascinating to me. Like, what other psychiatric disorder would you treat with an actual surgery?
Somebody did a study.
Somebody may know that. I just don't.
Lindsay could probably could get us this. We're winding down here, but somebody did a study on if you convert somebody at, say, around 18 years old and they live to your whatever the average age is, 65, over a lifetime, how many millions of dollars in medication that they are now committed to.
Right.
So you're creating a customer for a new medicine or whatever, new treatment, whatever you want to call it, over a lifetime. Once they, first off, if you had to get a medical procedure done and then it requires medicine for the rest of your life because this is such a screwed up ordeal, treatment, it's probably not one you want to consider.
No, yeah, I mean, you may know this better than I do. I'm sure Lindsay does because she's like the trans warrior of Mississippi. I think Europe got rid of now they're not even doing it, right? Is that as far as I know that's what's going on?
And I consider them way more liberal than us.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's not the conservative bastion of France.
No.
You know what I mean? It just, and then they're not. I haven't really dug deep into that, but I believe that they blocked. I know they blocked. I do know that they did block those. Puberty blockers and all that stuff. They're not doing that.
We got to take a break. Last thing, Michael is a Republican strategist, not a Democrat. So
is he?
So I was wrong about that. But that's why the white liberal thought he could speak to him any old ways because he's of different political persuasion, and that trumps anything. We'll be right back. Mics are hot. All right, guys, fun show today. We are going to talk to you for just a second, and we're going to sign off before we come back to close out the show on the radio. Let's see here. Kara says the surgery is called body modification, unless I'm missing something. Then she says the other surgery made organ transplant. Yeah, but we're talking about like a mental. Is there any other mental disorder that requires a physical operation?
Yeah,
and I'm going to agree that the answer is probably no.
Yeah, I mean, somebody knows of one. I just, top of my head, I can't think of one that would require some kind of surgery. Like, is there, like, if you have, schizophrenia, do they have to make you look like the person you think you are? Yeah. I mean, is that one of the, is that one of the things? I don't know.
Let's see here. Lindsay is in the chat. She goes, what is crazy is that the host agreed with the white liberal guy and told the black guy to be more respectful. She did. That was I can cuss here. That was a shit show of epic proportions. Oof.
Stupid as shit.
I mean, absolute shit show.
And just now, whenever I like to use that phrase, tone deaf
to
society. That this one guy, I don't even. You know what? Look, I mean, everyone wants to hear everybody's voice, and we're always like, oh, everybody's voice. You know what? Sometimes I don't, and what I mean by that is like this guy's opinion is such a minority radical view toward the white gay guy. That I don't need it to be part of the debate. You know what I mean? Just like I don't need Nazis, the real Nazis, viewpoints a part of any debate. Like I don't need that. No. I don't need the Ku Klux Klan's viewpoints. Like all opinions are not good and part of a good debate. That's what I was saying.
Well, that's what I love about Clay Travis when he came out and said that when he was talking about censorship on Twitter and stuff, he's like, why, if you are so confident in your opinion being right, or better yet, if you're so confident that the other people's opinion is wrong, let them put it out there and let the marketplace of ideas determine what's wrong and shout it back down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think when you allow people like this to talk, it shows how insane they are.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
And I'm not saying that you were jockeying for censorship, but it's exactly why I think you let people talk and why you don't censor.
Yeah.
Is you let people show how stupid and bad their ideas are. And I think he did more harm for the trans movement with that 30-second or minute segment than anybody else on the right could have possibly done by trying to shout it down. Just letting him talk and talk to that guy like he did set the trans movement back 20 years.
I mean, I agree with that assessment. Another one, and I know it's not the biggest issue to you, but it is to me, is, I feel like what he's done, I was talking to my buddy Will about this, what they've done to the Democratic Party, and I mean that not in the power of the party. Like, healthcare, as you know, has been my issue for 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy right there is stopping my legislative agenda, right?
Sure.
That I've thought about since I was
me too. I know what you're saying.
And like, it's that kind of crap that's like preventing healthcare reform. And because I have to listen to this idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what frustrates me of being, lifelong Democrat into those issues. Like this guy has now interjected his space and he's corrupted, people are listening to this and they're not only taking the opinion, they're saying, oh no, he's right. There's a lot of people that are saying he's right.
Well,
like,
that's why I hope over the next 4 years, that Trump and this MAGA team can figure out something with healthcare that works for everybody.
Yeah.
That pulls a normal guy like you over into our side and says, you know what, I'm home here.
Right.
They're doing enough to satisfy me that I don't want to be associated with this other side anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
We'll see if he does that. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge, yeah. I mean, I don't see why he'd be opposed to doing that.
I mean, at this point, looking at everything else,
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Right.
Why not?
Might as well do it.
All right, guys. Hey, online audience, thank you all so much. Appreciate you guys staying with us. Look, I know I've seen the complaints about the downtime during commercials. Oh, we're back. All right, we're back. Sorry, I didn't know we were already back. Hey, look, what a train wreck to end the show here. Hey, great show today. I appreciate everybody. Sorry, I was talking to the online audience and the schedule snuck back up on me coming back live on the radio. You guys have a blessed one. Sean, appreciate you.
Yep.
I'll be back here tomorrow morning. It'll just be me flying solo here. We'll see Sean back Friday. Coming up next, Mike Madison, followed by Jameson Haygood. I talked to Jameson for about an hour on the phone last night. He's fired up, man, and I am too. And then, of course, Kim Wade will bring us home from 4 to 6 every Monday through Friday right here, Radio Strong Man himself. And I'm here every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. See y'all. Stay blessed. Peace out. What I was saying was, so Matt did say that on Wednesdays and Fridays, Wednesdays and Thursdays that we can stay in here as long as we want. It does not interfere with anything. So I want to say this to the audience out there. What I was saying before we came back was, I've seen the complaints about the commercial breaks and us not talking during them. Look, it's pick your poison. This is live radio. It's built around commercial breaks. Sometimes we're going to talk through the breaks when we have something to say. Sometimes we're not. But what ends up happening and what makes it kind of an awkward situation is if we carry on a conversation during the commercial break and then we have to come back from the commercial break because the radio audience is still the much bigger audience. And we come back from commercial break and we try to reset that conversation. Well, you lose the enthusiasm of because you're talking about something for the second, you're repeating yourself. Then you guys have to hear us repeating ourselves. And then people go back and they listen to the podcast later, or they go back and they watch the stream later, and it's us repeating ourselves. So I don't know what's worse. You can listen to commercials, and if you're listening on radio, you get some dead air for a couple minutes if you're watching online, or you get us repeating ourselves or jumping down rabbit holes and then coming back from the commercial break, and we're so far down a rabbit hole we can't pull ourselves out of it, and we don't pick back up where we left off from the commercial break. So I don't know what to do with all that. It's a learning process. I appreciate y'all being along for the ride, and I appreciate the constructive criticism. Trust me, I do. I'm not getting snappy with anybody here because I do appreciate it all. But what do? It's live radio. I can create some commercials to play, some video commercials. So either way, you're either going to get silence or a commercial or some incoherent rambling. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Sean, appreciate you. Yep. We'll be back at it. I'll be back at it tomorrow. Sean will be back at it with us here Friday. Peace out.